ShartimusPrime, reading comics, toys are hella sick, Shartimus.
Remember the thing?
Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Transformers action figure review on the Transformers Generation Siege Warfare Cybertron Trilogy Leader Class Shockwave. I gotta give a big thanks to Megalopolis City of Collectibles for sponsoring this YouTube channel and sending out this product to review for you guys. If you want to check them out, link in the description below. They have an awesome rewards program over there where the more you buy, the more points you rack up and you can use those points to get other products. I think that's pretty awesome. And we have a pretty cool looking Shockwave right over here so far. I really like the image right here on the side. That looks pretty sweet. And then on the back you can see some awesome looking product shots. There's Ultra Magnus over there, and then on the side you can see Cybertron, and then we get a Decepticon symbol right there, which I think looks pretty cool. And it says Transformers Warfare Cybertron Trilogy, and then not much more at the bottom, so let's get to it and crack this thing open. And here's Shockwave out of the packaging in his submarine mode. I guess he has a submarine mode now. It doesn't look too bad actually. I'm not the biggest fan of this particular mode, but there are some things about it that I do think look kind of cool, like even just the back of it. It doesn't look too bad, but yeah, anyway, there are things I like about this figure, definitely things that I don't like. Let's get a closer look. So I'm just going to highlight some parts of this mode that I like. For instance, this translucent plastic in the very front right here. That is very cool. I like that. Nice details. And then we get nice detailed lines sculpted throughout on this. I like these little silver cannons that you can see on the very top. He's kind of shooting into himself a little bit, but I don't know. I think those look pretty cool. And then looking right up here, you have this cool thing with the light piping. So that's pretty neat to see that. I like the light piping. It looks good in the robot mode too, which we'll see in a minute. And then you can see we get the cannons on the side right over here, you know. So this is like a whole Cybertronian ship kind of deal, I think, more than like a real submarine. But those cannons are pretty cool. And then looking at the very back, I think this is actually pretty awesome. You know, you just like imagine some like blue flames coming out of the back of this somewhere. And you can see the obvious Shockwave feet on the very bottom. Then here's the underside of it. And measuring out this mode, you can see that it stands at about 3.5 inches tall, and I'm measuring about 9 to 10 inches across. Then for a size comparison, here's Shockwave next to the other leader class figure from our Siege line. We have Ultra Magnus, and they're more or less about the same length. I mean, the Ultra Magnus is definitely a bit more massive than the Shockwave over here, as you can clearly see. Then here's our Siege Leader Class Shockwave next to our Siege Voyager Class Megatron, and you can see obviously the Shockwave is a bit larger, but I don't know, would you say it's Leader Class larger? They're not that different in size, or at least mass anyway. So this is my second to least favorite mode for this figure, so let's get him into his regular alt mode where he takes away Bumblebee. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and detach these extra pieces right here, and these pieces right here, and those will come apart later on. And then you want to just take these parts right here and split from the very top, and this goes split in the middle, which can sometimes be a little bit tricky getting this tab to connect right in the center right there, but it works. And then you can flip that up, and then swing this around, and move that aside, and now we have Shockwave in this final mode, and all you really have to do is just touch it up. I mean, you could leave this up as a sight if you'd like, and then fold these in, and it looks like the G1 version gun mode that he had, and I think that actually looks really cool. I do like this. If you could flip this down, I guess that might look a little bit better to you. I'm not sure, but I don't mind having a sight, especially since the G1 toy had a sight. So yeah, I think it looks alright, you know, not many complaints with it. I guess it's supposed to be a ship like this or something like that, but it's obviously the G1 looking mode, and it looks pretty good except for this bit of a droop that I have been getting when I transform it. I don't know if I did something wrong, but I more or less consistently get a droop right there in the front. Then there's the end right there for the blast. That looks pretty cool. I like that they have all that silver paint underneath the translucent piece of plastic, so that makes me happy to see. You're just looking at the top of it, you can see the tube coming around right there. Then the feet are still kind of exposed, but it doesn't look too bad. I kind of like this mode. A bit small for an adult hand to hold it, but you know, if it's a kid holding this, they should have a lot of fun with it. You know, I'm going to say it right now, man. I think this figure would have just been fine being sold as a Voyager class figure just like this. Then measuring out the length of this blaster mode for Shockwave, you can see he's at about 8 inches across. And then here's the Siege Voyager class Shockwave next to the G1 Shockwave. Thank you so much, John 3.0, and congratulations, John 3.0, for making a dream come true and actually voicing Shockwave in the Transformers Bumblebee movie. Holy crap, I am so happy for him. It has just made me giddy ever since getting the news and then actually seeing it in the movie. Oh man, I'm so happy for you, John. I love you, man. I'm just so stoked to see that. So, hey, you guys, dreams come true, right? I mean, the guy voiced his favorite Transformer in an official Transformers movie. It just blows my mind. But you can see the size difference between the two right over here. And then actually, to make it look more G1, you can get the port reaching to the front right there. It looks a little bit more G1 accurate, so I do like that. I think the transformation is pretty easy for this figure, and it doesn't need to be complicated. So will you take us away, Bumblebee? Okay, so I'm going to start off by taking off the tube right over here off the very top, and then we have this panel that we're going to have to split apart right over here, and that's going to flip up right so, and then we're going to take the arms and move them downward, and then you can see that we could fold this up right here and collapse that, and then swing this down, so you can see it's going to hinge here, and collapse into the back. And then we could take this front piece, swing the head out, and then there's two pegs that are going to go into these two ports inside there, so you can see the two pegs, and they go in very easily, and now he's got a big old dingus. Okay, that was totally by accident, but hey, congratulations, Shockwave. Alright, so, right, we're going to split the legs apart, and then they're going to swing out and then shift up, so there's two hinges in there, and then this is going to swing down here and then collapse in, and it's going to snap together very nicely but quietly, and then it's going to swing out and then swing up, and then move that into place, swing this down, and then hinge this together closed, and then you can see that we have the feet. We're going to rotate this 180, and then move the arms down a little bit, and then reattach this tube, and now we have Shockwave in his robot mode, and this is my favorite mode. I really like this quite a bit. I think it looks very awesome. I don't really have many complaints at all about this robot mode, if any. I think it looks really good. I don't mind him having a little backpack right there. Very pleased with that. Ooh, let's get a closer look. I love that head sculpt so much. That looks so freaking awesome. That gunmetal and that detailed sculpting in there, it looks great. Plus we get some awesome light piping. Check that out, man. Doesn't really take a whole lot to get that to function. I really dig it quite a bit. Very awesome light piping, and just again a great head sculpt on this Shockwave. I really love how the paint came out with that. That is dope. I love the sculpted details throughout on it. And looking at the chest right here, that looks really good too. A lot of awesome details there as well. I'm really digging it. And I like how the proportions look on this figure too. The lower torso looks really good as I brighten things up. We could see things a little bit better, but yeah, man, great details throughout on this piece. Nice Decepticon symbols. I like those. That looks great. Then there is some paint detail. Well, not detail, but there's these splotches of silver right here on the tube, and it's made out of a soft material. You can port this into the underside of his left arm. If you have a hard time pulling this out, I recommend just sticking a fingernail in between there, and it'll just pop right through. So it tends to get stuck a little easy, and I get scared of, ripping that rubbery material from this tube. But you can see you could port it underneath or on the side right there. And there's the nozzle, looking pretty good. Very light colored purple, and he has a fist on the right side as he should. There's the crotch, and then again more details right here on the legs. That looks great. Very pleased with that. And then the lower part of the legs look really good. Little paint missing from the left toe right there, but I don't know. I don't mind a little bit of damage. The siege line, there's a lot of silver paint on them. Not on this figure though. There's no like dirt or anything like we've seen on Ultra Magnus and Optimus and Megatron. It's just a fairly clean version compared to the other siege figures. No splatter all over the place or anything, just on the tube. And then here's looking at the back of the figure. I guess you can count, some wear and, dry brushing right there on the feet, but I don't know. It could have used a little bit more of that silver throughout, so I would have liked to seen that. So not bad with the articulation on this figure, even though I have some gripes. Like, you can't get him to look up much at all. The head will barely tilt back. He'll look forward a little bit more. So you get side to side motion, and you do get some head tilting right here as well. The whole shoulder can move up and down due to transformation. You can also just move it outward like that and move down. You can rotate 360 if you didn't have that tube attached. You get a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow that bends in more than 90 degrees. You get a swivel at the nozzle as well as the wrist right here. And then you get a waist swivel, and then hips move outward all the way so you can do the splits. And he'll kick forward and kick back. You get a thigh swivel swivel or a mid-thigh swivel, and then a single jointed knee that does bend at 90 degrees. The ankles do not move down or up, but they have side-to-side ankle pivot. Now to measure out this Shockwave figure while in this mode, you can see he's standing at about 6.5 inches tall. Then for a Shockwave comparison, we have the G1 version in its robot mode. Thanks again, John. Next to the Siege version. Then here's our smaller version of Shockwave next to the smaller version of the Siege Leader class Ultra Magnus. And you can see that the Ultra Magnus is actually standing a little bit taller than Shockwave. And then here's Shockwave next to Voyager class Megatron. And I really think that Hasbro could have just released a Voyager class Shockwave and gotten away with it. It is a little smaller than Megatron though, so I'm sure there would be complaining there. But for real, I mean, I don't mind the size difference between these two. I actually think it looks pretty cool. So we have one last final mode for Shockwave. Will you take us away, Bumblebee? Good job, Bumblebee. Doing a great job today. Okay, so we have these pieces right here, and we're going to take them apart. And this whole thing is going to go onto the back. We're going to take this apart right over here. The guns are going to swing, and they're going to switch and flip around. So I like to just go ahead and port these onto the feet as they're supposed to do. You have ports right here at the bottom, and they just plug right in like so. You could flip this up if you want, and then we're going to port that in right there and flip that up. And then we have these shoulder pieces, and we're just going to go ahead and attach so that the silver part is outside, and you can see a lot more of that silver paint app, or those silver paint apps I was talking about. You can see a port right over here. It's going to go into the plug right there, or the plug's going to go into that port anyway, and it just snaps on like so. And we're going to go ahead and take this one, swing this around out that way, and that's going to, and you have this other peg that sticks out, but it still goes in just fine. And there that goes onto the side, so that looks pretty good. And then you're going to take this whole piece, and it's just going to go ahead and attach to the top right here. I'm going to move this arm out of the way so that that cable, or that the tube doesn't get in the way, and just going to flip this down and kind of move these outward and fold these panels in and make sure that this is connected to the back. And now we have Shockwave all loaded up with all of his accessories, or all the nozzles and everything attached to him. And I'm not a fan of this mode. This is my least favorite mode out of all four. It's just too much stuff going on over here that I feel like we don't really need. It is a little bit weird him having two cannons on the left and then only one on the right, and then having that random fist over there. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but still worth taking a closer look. So there's obviously not a huge difference from what we'd seen in the earlier robot mode, but you could see that all that paint that I was talking about earlier, they've added it right over here to the shoulders, so you can see on those pieces right there, and it does look kind of cool on the back. Again, I mean, that's the same that we'd seen before, but not a whole lot of new going on here. You have these flappy things in the back that are a little irksome, but it doesn't really bother me that much. That's not the thing that really bothers me about the figure the most. And then I do like how the feet came out, you know, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, for real, I'm not that excited about this mode. The articulation isn't very different at all. I mean, you could still move the shoulders up and out and everything. You know, you could rotate over here, and you do have the added cannons that could turn side to side and have two hinges. So there's a hinge right here, and there's another hinge right down there. And then everything else is the same, even the feet and everything. You still get ankle pivot. And I should mention there is a tiny little tab right here. So when you port these in, you do want to make sure that that's in there. It really does help secure these added feet or shoes. I don't know what you want to call those. Rocket shoes. That's what they are, rocket shoes. And to measure out Shockwave while in this mode, you can see to the top of that backpack, he's just under 7.5 inches tall. And again, here he is next to Voyager class Megatron, and wow, still not really that much taller than Megatron. And then here he is next to the Siege Leader class Ultra Magnus, where the whole parts adding and all that stuff makes a whole lot more sense. I'm curious to know which Decepticon you think kind of needs this type of treatment. And then here's a fully loaded Shockwave next to your average 6-inch scale figure. We have the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. Hey, I got a riddle for you. What's got one eye, 4 arms, 4 toes, and is a big purple waste of space? You! Oh, awesome. So I forgot to mention that there is a Kulo port for this figure. As you can see, I have a Figma stand plugged in there, and I really do like this robot mode right here. I really think Hasbro could have just released a figure just like this without any of the added parts or any of that stuff. You know, it looks great just as it is. So at the price point of about $50 for a bunch of accessories that I don't really want and I don't think anybody ever asked for, I'm giving this figure a SUD rating of...
I'll wait for the Black Friday sale.
And I'd like to know what you guys think, so be sure to leave a comment down below, hit that like button if you liked the video, and please hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell if you have not already. If you want to stay in touch with me over on the social media, you can follow me on Stardust, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Links to everything in the description below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace!
I'm posing action figures, I'm posing action figures, I'm posing action figures every day. I'm posing
Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't.
Your face,